Not everyone understands, but there are people who feel peace just by being at home. While the world runs outside, the chosen prefers silence, the couch, coffee in the kitchen. It's not laziness. It's not isolation. It's choice. A choice made by the soul that asks for rest, clarity, and presence. Perhaps you have heard criticism for this. People saying that you close yourself off too much, that you should go out more, mingle more. But deep down you feel, nothing out there fills you like the calm of being in your own corner. And that's not a problem. That's part of your calling. The home becomes a temple. There you breathe, you find yourself, you listen to yourself. It's where your energy reorganizes itself. It's in the home that you feel whole, without needing to mold yourself to others. It's there that you reconnect with what is true, effortlessly, without noise, without masks. In this content, you will discover 6 truths about people like you. People who carry a different sensitivity and find in the home their refuge. If any of these truths touch your heart, breathe easy. You are not alone. You are just learning to respect your rhythm. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Home as a source of energy. Some people only feel alive when they're out on the street, surrounded by movement, conversations, and stimuli. But the chosen are the opposite of that. They recharge in silence in their favorite corner of the house, in the scent of fresh coffee. Home for them isn't just where they live. It's where they become whole again after giving themselves to the world. The day may have been intense, full of interactions and responsibilities. But just crossing the door of the house makes something inside change. The body relaxes, the mind slows down, the soul breathes. The home has this power. It's like it silently says, "Here, you don't need to protect yourself. Here, you can rest." This rest isn't just physical, it's emotional, spiritual, energetic. It's the kind of pause that no holiday offers. Because at home, the chosen finds more than a space. They find a state of presence. A place where they don't have to pretend, force a smile, or handle everything. They can simply be without needing to explain. Each room has its value. The bedroom welcomes fatigue. The living room receives thoughts. The kitchen nourishes more than the body. Even the silence of objects conveys security. Nothing asks, everything welcomes. It's in this environment that the chosen recharges their deepest strengths. And often, this is what allows them to go on. Many don't understand this preference. They confuse it with laziness or isolation. They say it's a lack of social life, of zest for living. But that's not it. The chosen knows that true life pulses inside, and the home is the only place where that life can be heard, respected, and nourished. While some rest in noise, the chosen rest in silence. The silence of the house isn't empty. It's full of healing. There are no external pressures, no comparisons, no pressure to be what one isn't. There is only space to be whole, and that is precious for those who feel everything more intensely. The world demands a strong version of us all the time, but the chosen knows that this strength needs to be restored somewhere, and there is no better place than one's own home. There, strength isn't forced. It rebuilds itself slowly, between one breath and another, between a soft prayer and a deep thought. The home is like a cocoon. It isn't imprisonment, it's shelter. It's in it that the chosen reconnects with their own essence, remembers what matters, steps away from the world's noise and moves closer to their own truth. This process doesn't happen grandly. It happens in small but deep details. Perhaps it's the soft morning light entering the window, or the silence of the early hours when everyone sleeps. Perhaps it's the aroma of your own tea, or the sound of your own breathing. Simple things, but they have the power to calm a heart that feels too much, thinks too much, exists with more intensity. This type of energy isn't found anywhere. That's why the home becomes so sacred. In it, there's no need for defenses. The chosen can switch off the survival mode and simply exist. They can take off the armor the world demands and wear their own skin without fear. When the world tires, the home heals. When everything seems out of place, it's in the home that the chosen regains the center. There, they remember that they don't need to be strong all the time. They can also withdraw, cry, breathe, rethink. And all of that is part of the path for someone separated for something greater. The home is where the invisible becomes visible, where the soul listens to itself clearly, where the presence of God is felt in the simple things, in the sound of silence, in the breeze brushing the window, in the coziness of a blanket. It is in the home that the spiritual blends with the daily life and gives everything meaning. And if someone asks why you prefer to stay at home, it's okay not to know how to explain in words. Some things only the heart understands. And it's fine if this is your place of healing. Not everyone needs to understand. The important thing is that you know this refuge has value, and that it is necessary. The house isn't a hideout. It's the place where you prepare, where you return to yourself, where you truly hear yourself. And if that makes sense to you, then that's enough. You don't need to justify your silence. The home, for the chosen, is the answer. Sensitivity to the world. Some people live on autopilot. They pass through crowded places, face loud noises and long conversations as if it were nothing. Yet the chosen cannot. They feel everything. They perceive more than what is being said, absorb what wasn't spoken, and wear themselves out with things others don't even notice. Living in this world requires extra energy. This sensitivity isn't fuss. It's a heightened type of perception. Loud sounds bother more than they should. The bustle of a crowded place can generate physical fatigue. A heavy environment affects mood, even if no one has said anything. The chosen feels before understanding, and that requires care. That's why the home becomes so important. It serves as a filter. There, the chosen can choose what enters. They can control light, sound, smells, voices. They can build an environment where they don't need to protect themselves all the time. It is in the home that they can breathe without fear of being invaded. Social environments, as necessary as they may be, often drain the energy of the chosen. Not because they hate people, but because they absorb everything around them. A poorly chosen word can echo for days. A crossed glance can upset the inner peace. The world for them is too strong. This intensity makes them withdraw more than usual. It is a way of preserving themselves. Staying at home in this case isn't escape. It's emotional intelligence. They know they cannot be everywhere all the time. They know they need silence to recompose themselves. And respecting that is wisdom. The chosen have a kind of emotional radar. They perceive the environment's vibration, the energy of people, the intentions behind gestures. And this doesn't switch off. It's always working. Therefore, when they return home, all they need to do is switch off this radar and rest without external stimuli. The world demands sociability all the time. It wants to see everyone smiling, interacting, producing. But the chosen feels fatigue accumulate quickly. They know they need breaks. They need silence. The mind cries out for time away from voices, honks, cell phones, and pressures. And only the home offers that. The home becomes the only place where the chosen can lower their guard. They don't need to be alert to the emotional climate, the expressions, the conversations. They can simply exist. And that, for someone who feels everything all the time, is a relief, a gift, a real rest, which the world rarely offers. While many distract themselves to survive, the chosen feels to understand. They do not ignore emotions. They observe them, process them, and learn from them. But this process is only possible if they have a safe space to exist, a space that doesn't demand so much. And that space is the home. The home also serves as spiritual protection. External environments carry energies that accumulate in the body. A whole day out can leave the chosen exhausted, but a bath, a soft light, a silent prayer, and the house environment begins to purify everything. The soul returns to center. Peace returns. This sensitivity is a gift, not a defect. But like any gift, it needs care. And taking care of this sensitivity means respecting its limits. It means not forcing oneself to be where one does not feel comfortable. It means not forcing oneself to sustain conversations that drain. It means knowing how to say no when everything in you cries for retreat. Therefore, those who are sensitive tend to avoid long visits, loud parties, crowded places, not out of arrogance, but out of care. The body feels, the soul warns, and the home becomes the shelter that balances everything again. There, time flows differently. There, the heart finds peace. And that peace is sacred. Sensitivity also reveals the invisible. The chosen feels when an environment is charged. They know when a presence is out of tune. They sense when something that seems normal is actually wrong. This sixth sense isn't explainable, but it's real. And trusting that intuition is part of the path. Those who are like this need to permit themselves to rest. One cannot live in constant alert. The home also exists for this, to recharge, to empty what has accumulated, to transform what hurt, and to remember that, even feeling everything, the chosen can still be whole, and can return stronger. If you feel this way, don't blame yourself. You are not weak, you are profound. And the deeper someone is, the more silence they need. The home isn't a prison for you. It's your center of balance. It's where everything lines up again. And that doesn't need justification, only respect. Discomfort with the superficial and the strength of solitude. The chosen ones do not know how to live by appearances. They cannot fit into empty conversations or environments where everything is about pleasing and showing off. Being physically present, but with the soul distant, is something that happens frequently. The lack of truth in interactions exhausts them more than any physical effort. In forced social gatherings, where laughter is rehearsed and topics spin around nothing, the chosen senses a kind of disconnection that is hard to explain. It isn't shyness, but incompatibility with what lacks depth. They don't need many people around. They need sincere connection. That is why they prefer home. At home, they don't need to pretend strength, nor hide the intensity of what they feel. They don't need to force smiles, nor endure conversations that do not touch the soul. The home offers a rare kind of freedom, the freedom to be without needing to mold oneself to please. Inside the house, silence has value. It doesn't bother. On the contrary, it welcomes. In this silence, the chosen dives into themselves, reflects, listens to themselves, prays in silence. The absence of external noise reveals a stronger inner presence. He doesn't feel loneliness for being alone. He feels clarity for being with himself. The home becomes this safe space where there is no need for representation, no demands of performance, no pressure to fit into standards. It is the only environment where the chosen can exist in peace, and that peace is worth more than any crowd. It is there that he recharges, heals, strengthens himself. Many confuse this with arrogance or anti-sociality, but the truth is that the chosen simply cannot stand the superficial. They are intense by nature. They need meaningful conversations, true presences, edifying encounters. Without that, they feel something is lost, and they don't want to waste time with what adds nothing. Solitude for them is not absence. It is encounter. an encounter with God, with the own soul, with the purpose that is being revealed little by little. While the world runs to fill itself with anything, the chosen walks slowly, listening to something that is not heard with the ears, but with the spirit. It is in this solitary silence that the answers they sought arise. Ideas, decisions, healing, direction. All of this blossoms when the mind calms and the heart opens. Solitude becomes a sacred school where there are no distractions, only learning. And the learning there is deep, real, permanent. At home, this solitude gains even more strength because the environment is shaped for it. It is as if the place itself knows the mission. The walls protect, the objects welcome. The absence of noise becomes a melody of peace. Each detail of the space cooperates so that the chosen returns to the center. The process of inner growth requires these moments. Those who live in constant noise cannot listen to their own soul, and that is why the chosen values their own company so much. He has learned that he does not need the approval of others to feel whole. God's approval and alignment with the purpose are enough. The world may not understand, it may even judge, but the chosen does not live to please the world. He lives to fulfill a mission. And this mission often requires separation, silence, focus. The crowd can offer distraction, but rarely offers direction. And the chosen knows the difference between being busy and being aligned. It is in withdrawal that maturity grows. It is when everything quiets down that faith strengthens. And while the eyes of the world seek applause, the eyes of the chosen are turned upward, seeking guidance. This does not make him better. It only makes him different. And that difference is part of the path. There is nothing wrong with wanting to be at home in silence, without having to deal with the burden of pleasing. The chosen needs this space, needs this pause, needs this plunge, because it is there, in the place where no one sees, that something grand is being built. And this something is sacred. Inside the house, in the silence of one's own company, the chosen discovers truths that he wouldn't perceive in the noise. The calm of the home allows seeing clearly the feelings, fears, and even dreams. The home is like a mirror of the soul. It reflects how the person is inside. Those who find peace at home are usually in order inside. In this space, ideas are born, unexpected answers come, inspiration arises. The home for the chosen is more than rest. It is the place where revelations about themselves, about life, about purpose are received. Each moment in silence is an opportunity for growth. It is not isolation. It is a plunge into something greater. The home is a shelter, but it can become a prison if balance is lost. Some chosen people risk closing themselves off too much, avoiding the world out of fear or insecurity. This excess can generate painful loneliness and even deep sadness. Therefore, it is important to differentiate. Staying at home by choice brings peace, but if it is an escape, it brings weight. The call of the chosen is not to hide forever. It is to strengthen oneself in silence, and then return stronger. Balance is essential, taking care of one's own space without abandoning the connections that truly matter. The home is a refuge, but life also asks for movement. Finding that balance point is a sign of maturity. We live in a world that demands hurry. Everything has to be done quickly, shown right away, answered on the spot. But the chosen do not fit this accelerated pace. They walk differently. While many rush not to be left behind, the chosen stop to understand where they are. They are not afraid to go slower, as long as it is on the right path. Staying at home for them is not a delay. It is wisdom. It is understanding that external movement does not always represent real evolution. Sometimes, It is in the pause that the greatest transformations happen. The silence of the home teaches more than many voices out there. It teaches to listen to oneself. It teaches not to get lost in the agitation that confuses. Each person has their own tempo, but the chosen are even more linked to internal time. They feel when it is time to advance and when it is time to retreat. This sensitive listening does not fit with the world's pressure. Therefore, they withdraw. Not to kowtow, but to maintain alignment with what truly matters. At home, they find this rhythm. They do not need to keep up with anyone. They can slow down without guilt. They can breathe without rushing. They can exist in the time the soul needs. And that, in the eyes of the world, may seem slow. But for someone on a mission, this rhythm is protection. It is what prevents detours and unnecessary wear. The world calls this procrastination, but for the chosen, it is preparation. It is the time to gestate ideas, heal wounds, adjust the heart. And when they finally decide to act, they do so with more clarity, more strength, and more purpose, because they did not act on impulse. They acted with conviction, and that changes everything. Often, this difference in rhythm creates conflicts. People ask, "Why didn't you show up?" Or, "Why haven't you answered yet?" But the chosen doesn't live by urgency. He lives by presence. And true presence requires a pause. It requires silence. It requires conscious choices that do not follow the world's clock. There is a kind of wisdom in respecting your own tempo. It's like a dance with one's own soul. When you try to follow others' rhythm, you lose inner harmony. But when you follow your own rhythm, even if slower, everything flows with more ease. The home allows this dance to happen without interruptions. This slower tempo allows perceiving the invisible. While the world runs past things, the chosen observes. He feels, analyzes, reflects. And this sensitivity needs space. It needs an environment that does not shout. That is why he values the silence of the house so much. There he hears what life is trying to say. The journey of the chosen is not made of many steps. It is made of right steps. And that is only possible when inner time is respected. There is no rush. There is intention. Each decision is felt before it is made. Each path is analyzed before it is trodden. The home is the place where these decisions take shape. While the world measures success by speed, the chosen measures it by alignment. They know that doing more does not always mean doing right. They know that presence is not quantity, it is quality. And this quality only arises when one learns to wait, to listen, not to rush due to anxiety or external pressure. This different rhythm is a gift, a sign that the soul is attentive to what truly matters. And even if few understand, the chosen stays firm, because he does not need to prove anything to anyone. He only needs to be faithful to the time God placed inside him. And this time, almost always, is calmer. The home is the temple of the chosen. Not everyone will understand the reason you prefer to stay at home. But the chosen know. There is a peace in this silence that cannot be found anywhere else. The house stops being just a physical place and becomes spiritual. It transforms into shelter, refuge, a sacred space. Staying at home is not hiding. It is protecting yourself. It is taking care of yourself from the inside out. It is hearing what the heart is saying and respecting your own limits. The chosen know that outside there is a lot of noise, a lot of demands, and a lot of energy that weighs heavily. But inside the home, there is reconnection, rest, and clarity. While the world shouts for you to always be present, producing, answering, rushing, the chosen learn the value of pausing. And when they choose to stay at home, they are saying yes to what really matters: peace, the soul, intimacy with God, They are choosing to stay firm on a path that cannot be seen with the eyes, but felt within. The home is the temple where faith strengthens in silence, where purpose is polished without applause, where the heart finds the ideal space to grow, heal, and align with something greater. It is not weakness to prefer staying at home. It is spiritual strength. It is maturity. It is self-love in the form of a choice. Perhaps you have felt different for not liking bustle, for avoiding certain environments, or for preferring seclusion. But now you know. This is not isolation. It is sensitivity. It is perception. It is your spirit recognizing where it can blossom in peace. And it is okay if your rhythm isn't the same as others. Each chosen person has a unique way of living their process. For many, this process happens within the home itself. It is there that answers arise. It is there that the soul speaks louder. And the more you honor this space, the more aligned you become with what God is building inside you. Leave your experience in the comments. Your share may touch other people who are going through the same process, but have not yet understood that this is part of a calling. Your story can bring clarity, encouragement, and welcome to those who need to hear. You are not alone. This space is yours. Shall we walk together?